Hello and welcome to the Fans Boxing Podcast, the podcast that asks the questions you want to hear. I'd like to welcome to this week's show, Doncasters' very own, the unbeaten heavyweight sensation, Dave, the White Rhino Allen. How are you feeling today, Dave?
Yeah, very good, thank you, mate. It's nice to speak to you.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks for getting up with your time today, mate.
No problem.
A really exciting time at the minute. As everyone knows, the news breaking in view fighting Richard Towers. That's really exciting for Yorkshire.
Yeah, it's a big fight, and it's a big fight locally as well. And like I say, Richard is a good friend. We've got a lot of mutual friends, and it's a very exciting fight for the area. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, as you know, on this show, we like the fighters to obviously go back to the amateur career for us. Could you go back to them days for us? Because what people are thinking, because you fit a lot into them 10 fights, didn't you, Dave?
Yeah. I only had 3 fights on like club bouts. I then went straight in against the Yorkshire belt holder. There's belts for like different areas. So my 4th fight, I beat the Yorkshire belt holder, become Yorkshire heavyweight champion. I was only 14 stone at the time.
Bloody hell.
I then went in the novices and I became Yorkshire novice champion under 10. But at the same time, I won the Yorkshire Boy Club championship as well. But by the time I got a bye in the pre-quarters of the novices, so by the time it came round to boxing them, I'd already made it to the Boys Club final.
Yeah.
But I had to pull out of the novices because it was only 4 days before the final. I then won the Boys Club final. So obviously I was intermediate level now. So the novices got forgot about. So in 8 fights, I had 3 Yorkshire titles and a national title, undefeated in 8 fights. It was kind of crazy how fast things had gone, really. That was all in the space of one season, like 1 year. I then went in the ABAs, got to the quarterfinals, and got beat by Simon Barkley by 2 points. And he'd had a lot more fights than me. So in 10 fights, I won a national title, 4 Yorkshire titles, and got to an ABA quarterfinal. So I did all right, really. All that before my 20th birthday. Yeah,
that's a great achievement. But the first question we had in: do you think there's a fair result tonight against Barkley?
I don't know. It's a long time ago now.
Yeah.
It was a good fight, and I've never been a great trainer. I wasn't greatly prepared for it. And I wasn't really greatly prepared for a lot of my amateur fights.
That's very honest of you, mate.
I lost by 2 points. And Simon became a friend of mine. He's a good fighter. He's undefeated in 7 now. Just won an eliminator for the English title.
Yeah, he's doing well, isn't he?
So I couldn't say it wasn't a fair result. It was a good fight. So you never know. One day Simon might come up to heavyweight, and I'd like to avenge that loss.
Yes, mate. Yes. Because a lot of people are wondering, because obviously your dad was a fighter, if no one knew that. He's a welterweight fighter. But
yeah.
long time before, obviously, you didn't appreciate his career. You weren't born then, were you?
No.
But what would you say as an influence? Him like talking about the old days and stuff like that, getting into the boxing?
I got into boxing. I don't think my dad ever wanted me to start boxing, really. As a kid, I did a lot of track and field and a lot of cross-country running. Did all right, played a lot of football. And when I left school with no qualifications whatsoever. I didn't really have any future. There was nothing there for me. And I knew about boxing because I knew my dad did it. I knew he had a pretty successful time of it as an amateur. He beat Harold Graham. He lost in the ABAs 3 semi-finals running to Colin Jones. So I was always interested in my boxing. So I knew that he was a decent fighter. So one day I just took myself off to the local amateur gym. Had a few sessions. My dad didn't really have any interest in it, but he came to watch me spar after about a month, and he took me out of the amateur gym and took me to Brendan Ingles' gym, and that's where it all started, really.
Yeah, because obviously your successful amateur career was really quick, but moving on, you turned pro really young. Didn't you want to go down like the Olympic route or nothing like that?
Yeah, I was on the GB assessment. I did 4 or 5 weekends on there, and I think I had a place on the development squad at 91 kilos. It got down to me, Simon Barkley, Greg Breede and Danny Williams, the 4 of us. And just before the last assessment weekend, Kevin Sanders, who was working with Dennis Hobson at the time, gave me a call. And, the offer they kind of put to me at the time as a 20-year-old kid, I had to take it. So that's what I did. I do look back on it, I do regret it because the Rio Olympics are coming up. I spar a lot with Joe Joyce and Fraser Clark, and it'd have been interesting. I think it'd been great competition between the 3 of us. So yeah, I kind of do look back on it and regret, but at the same time, I've done it now, and things haven't gone too bad. So
exactly, that's the main point. Obviously, turning pro, you turned over Dennis Hobson locally.
Yeah, with Den, yeah.
Yeah.
Me and Den obviously we had a great relationship, you know, at the start.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're still all right now. Me and Den got on really well. You know, I'm a massive fan of him. Kev Sanders was training me, Dennis was managing me, promoting me, and you know, things got off to a good start.
Yeah. Yes, you fought like 3 times in Sheffield. I know it's like just down the road from you.
Yeah.
Is that important to have them fights like locally?
Yeah, it was nice. The first 2 was at Don Valley, Valley Stadium. Just fought 2 foreign opposition. And then my 3rd fight was at Sheffield Arena on a Golden Boy show with Arn headlining. So that was massive, you know, and that's what Dennis can do. Dennis does that for a lot of fighters, and it was nice. It was a massive occasion. And then obviously with Dennis, I had 3 fights in arenas, 2 in Newcastle Arena and 1 in Sheffield Arena. So, you know, I can't really knock him. He did do a lot for me. And maybe at the time when we did split and it wasn't most amicable at the time, you know, looking back now, you know, I've apologised to Dennis, and you know, but we move on, and that's happened. So
yeah, that's the main thing, mate. That's the main thing. Obviously, looking over your career, you've been in with a lot of like foreign journeymen and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How much can you learn in them fights?
I think maybe my first 4 fights was just, you know, I stopped 3 inside a minute or something like that. 3 inside the first round. And the first fight went the distance. I dropped him in 20 seconds, and I tore something in my bicep. So it would have been 4 fights in 4 rounds. So I'm not sure what you get out of it actually in ring, but you have to walk to the ring. You have to deal with the nerves on fight day. You have to prepare and stuff. So you take that from that. Then I fought Moses Matuvu, and I realised then, you know, these people they're not all as easy as to hit as some. So
no, he's a tough pair of boots, isn't he?
Moses gave me a nice run around. It was a Sunday afternoon, so he gave me the run around, and then I fought a big Bulgarian, and I got a draw, the first setback of my career.
Yeah, because a lot of people are asking. Obviously, there's no footage of that. Could you just talk us through that, please, mate?
Yeah, it was. I turned up, and you know, I wasn't in shape at all. To be honest, I didn't really train for my first 6 fights, and you know, when I saw him, I know I was in trouble. He was in tremendous shape. He was a very big unit, and I think, you know, he never boxed after that fight.
Yeah, it's weird, that, isn't it?
It was a hard fight. You know, he ended up with 2 cuts on his head, a little one above the eye, and I ended up very bruised for around a week. It was a hard fight, and you know, looking back, draw made probably a fair result. You know, I won the first 2 rounds, and I was tired because I didn't train, and it was the best thing that happened to me, because I knew it wasn't easy. I knew I wasn't going to hit people and they weren't going to fall over. So, you know, I think even though it was a draw, I think it's the best thing that's happened to me so far.
Yeah, yeah. And obviously after that fight, you went with the War Machine, Big Larry.
Yeah, I went with Fury, most importantly for that,
Yeah.
Went to Bolton. I did the full 8 weeks in Bolton with Pierre and Tyson and Huey and Eddie. And I did 8 weeks there, and it was meant to be a rematch with a Bulgarian originally.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks before he pulled out, and we brought Big Larry in. And
because Larry was fighting with a bit of confidence back then, weren't he?
Yeah, he's still a bit of ambition, I think, back then.
Yeah, I was a fan of Larry's, and it's a pity to see him still going. I think she needed to step back for a while and regroup, didn't he?
Yeah, he's having surgery at the minute on his leg. Yeah. On his. I'm not sure what it is, but me and Larry ended up sparring in Scotland together with Gary Cornish.
Yeah.
And he's a lovely fellow, Larry. But yeah, he's had a bit of ambition then, so it was a decent win. I was happy with it, and then that's when the 15-month layoff started after Larry's fight. So.
Yeah, can you just talk us through that, mate? Why are you at the ring for so long? Obviously, there's problems behind the scenes.
Yeah, me and Dennis had a little bit of a falling out.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't a nasty falling out. It was just a thorough lack of communication, really.
Yeah.
And it took 12 months, and in that 12 months, I became a supply teacher.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was in schools all around Leeds. I was a supply teacher doing all sorts of different stuff, working with kids of all different. You know, I was in schools where the kids weren't as well behaved as they were in others. So it was an interesting time in my life, really. And the boxing got put on the back foot. But in that time, I went to spar with Klitschko. I was still sparring with Joshua.
Yeah, because we had some good questions about that. Cause how do you get on against the taller men like Klitschko and stuff like that, and obviously other men you've been in with Tyson Fury? How do you deal with them?
With Tyson Fury, there's not much you can do. You can't deal with. I'll be honest, I can't deal with Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
He's the best heavyweight in the planet, bar none. He's a special fighter in my eyes, and I think I've said before, the only man that's going to beat Tyson Fury is Tyson Fury. He's too big, and he's too good as well. And if you're too big and too good, you know, I don't see who's going to beat him. And I sparred Klitschko as well. And when I left Austria, I came back and I told Tyson himself, I said, you'll beat Vladimir Klitschko. He's not on your level, and that's a weird thing to say, and that shows how good that Tyson is.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, after the Larry fight, you had another stoppage win.
Yeah.
And then you were down to fight on the Kell Brook undercard against, was it Adam the Heat Seeker?
Yeah.
Sentinel area. That'd been a good fight as well, wasn't it?
Well, I went to the Dome and I stopped someone in 3 rounds. He was a very tough man as well.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd have knocked him out if I was still there now. If we were still in there 6 months on, he was very tough. The referee jumped in. And then I was meant to fight Adam McCarsh, and he pulled out on the Monday of the fight. Which was a shame because they ended up bringing in someone who was levels above him. The Adam McCarsh fight, we really fancied it as it was not an easy fight. There's no such thing, but it was a 1 or 2 round job, really. And they drafted in a former French heavyweight champion with wins over Zambano Love and Gregory Tony.
Yeah.
And it was a hard night, to be honest. I put him down in the first 15 seconds, and I just thought I was just waiting for one shot from thereafter. Really, I was just waiting for that one shot to finish it, and it didn't come, and it got a bit scrappy. And he was very big and strong. But again, that's another good thing that's happened. These hard fights I need, and it's put me in good stead for the Richard fight, because this is definitely not going to be an easy fight.
Exactly. Did that fight feature on was it Knockout TV?
Yeah, it was on Channel 4.
Oh, that's great, isn't it?
It's weird, yeah. Someone messaged me and said you were on Channel 4 last night, so I was worrying what I'd been on. Prime Watch was on BBC One, so
yeah.
But I watched it and it was surreal, and it just shows that things are really picking up now. The British heavyweight division is wide open.
Exactly.
And I'm a win away from being really in the mix, so it's exciting times.
Yeah, look, leading up to this Richard Tower fight, you've teamed up with Steffi Ball. Can you talk us through that move and what Steffi's changed in your camp?
Yeah, I've known Steffi since I was a young kid. He was a good friend to my dad. I think my dad used to go down to the amateur gym when Steffi was a young lad training down there, and so I've known him for a long time. I've spent time at his house as a kid, so he's known me for a long time. He's known me longer than I've known him because I was young. But so we've got a good relationship from the start there. We've got a good personal relationship, and that's helping with the boxing. I've got trust in him, and if he says to do something, it's taken time because I'm that kind of character. I'm always right. I've always been that kind of character. But I've got belief in him and what he's saying, and I know he's got my best interest at heart, and he's doing a cracking job for Doncaster boxing as a whole, as well as myself. Exactly.
Yeah, I saw he sold his another show out, didn't he, recently?
Yeah, I've only just got to go to the gym and look around me and see the success that Andy Townend's having, and Robbie Barrett, and all the rest of the lads. They're all on big shows. They're all winning titles. They're all winning, and he's doing a great job, and all the lads are doing really well, and that success is breeding success in the gym.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed in your work with Steffi is working on your diet a lot, and I see on social media, a lot of people are saying you're a funny guy to follow. You don't take yourself too seriously out of the gym and the ring.
Yeah.
And you're struggling with your diet at the minute.
Yeah, I've always struggled with my diet. Yeah, I've been known as that fat boy from Doncaster. I've always been known as that fat kid, but it's really coming off. The weight's coming off. I'm not worrying about the weight. I've got the scales. I've took them back to the gym. I'm leaving them alone now till March 25th when I weigh in, because it was doing my head in. I was weighing myself literally 30 times a day. So now we're just putting the work in. We're putting the right things in my body, and whatever I will weigh. But as long as I feel 100% on the night, that's all that matters. I could weigh 25 stone, but if I feel well and I look well, that's all that matters. So
exactly, mate. Exactly. Moving into this fight, there's a lot been said about the history between you two. Can you just recap obviously where you met Richard and how it's led to this?
Yeah, the first day I met Richard, I went to the Winkerbank gym, the famous England gym. I walked through the door, and I just saw some man mountain, stood by the ring. My dad took me over, introduced me to Brendan, and just said, "Is he all right to train?" So I got my stuff, and from that day on, as a 16-year-old at the time, Richard's 6'8", he's an intimidating figure, especially for a young man, and I just kind of followed him around from there. Really, I used to make sure I was at the gym when he was there. When I saw him in the ring body sparring, I'd be rushing to get my stuff on, and I wouldn't be doing my lines, and Brendan would be shouting at me saying, "Get your lines done before you get in here." And that was all because I wanted to train with Richard. I wanted to do everything with Richard. So that's why the fight means so much to me. It's a big fight anyway, but to me this is huge. This is like beating my hero kind of thing. As a young kid in the gym, I really looked up to Richard, and I still do in a way. He's a good man, he's a smart man, he's a good fighter. So beating him will mean a lot to me on a personal level as well as a professional level.
Yeah, obviously with the Yorkshire background, it's making for a great fight. But there's no hesitation in taking this fight when you heard the news?
No, I was told. Steffi rang me and said, "Do you want Richard Towers' British title eliminator?" And I said yes. I just said yes. It wouldn't matter who he said. You know, I wanted the Joshua fight. I want any fight. I'd take any fight. And Eddie Hearn said that. You know, I'm not scared to fight anybody because I want to be the best, and to be the best, I'm gonna have to fight the best, aren't I? So, you know, no disrespect to Richard. You know, he's a very good fighter, but he's not. You know, he's not world level where I see myself ending up. So.
Yeah,
I have to beat him to get to where I want to get to.
Of course, this is an eliminator. You're probably going to have to go in with a final eliminator. Maybe, I don't know how it's going to work. But who do you see out there as probably fighting for the belt for if Joshua vacates?
It's difficult to say.
I know, yeah.
I think on a personal level, I'm hoping, you know, once I beat Richard, you know, David Price maybe makes a comeback and I can fight David Price for the title. That would be the dream scenario for myself.
What about our lad down here in Norfolk, Sam Sexton?
Yeah, Sam Sexton's a good fighter. I've been a fan of Sam Sexton. When I first started boxing, you know, he was fighting Rogan and Chisora, he's a very capable fighter. Yeah. You know, Sam's a really good boxer. I see him as a really good boxer. I've always thought maybe he just lacks that punch. If he had that big punch, you know, I'd see him going a lot further than he already has done. But you know, I know he's back, and I know he seems hungry and stuff, and he's after the big fight. So. You know,
maybe you'll see that somewhere down the line, won't we?
Yeah, if I'm successful against Richard, you know, this British title, you know, there's a lot of names there, and Sam Sexton, you know, with what he's achieved in the past, he's got to be pretty high up on the list. If the title does get vacated. Yeah,
of course. Often the news breaking that Anthony Joshua's looking to fight Martins. I don't know how much truth is in that, but how do you see that fight going?
I think Joshua will beat Martin.
Yeah.
I think Martin's a very poor world champion.
Yeah.
But Joshua's a very good fighter. He's very exciting. I think he's great for boxing. I think a lot of people see me calling him out as a sign of disrespect, but it's totally the opposite. It's a sign of respect. If I'm calling a fighter out, I'm not calling him out because, you know, they're beneath me. You know, you call a fighter out that you know is above you and you want to be. And I want to beat Anthony because I've known him for a long time as well. And I've got a lot of respect for him. And you know, I hope he does get the Martin fight. I hope he wins it. Maybe it's too soon, but you know, he'd be foolish to turn down a world heavyweight title fight, especially a winnable one.
Yeah, exactly. And if you do get your shot at the British title, were you looking to win that outright, or was it just a stepping stone?
No, the dream's always been to win the British title, to win it, and then to successfully defend it 3 times. I think it is to keep it outright.
That's great to hear, mate.
And then I want to go and put it on my dad's mantelpiece at home, and. You know, we don't get on very well most of the time, but, you know, I promised him when I did start boxing, I'm going to win that British title and place it there, and nothing's changed from now, and that's always been the dream. You know, he didn't win it himself, but, you know, and my very first coach, Will Swindles, he told me all about the beauty of the Lonsdale belt and what it means, and kind of stuck with me, and you know, I'd rather win a British title and defend that outright than win it and move on. You know, I think anyone who becomes British champion, you know, should look to defend it and keep that belt.
Yeah. So that's what obviously the fans think exactly the same thing.
Yeah, it's a very prestigious belt. It's a beautiful belt. I think it's the most beautiful belt in boxing. And as a British fighter, you know, I think that should be everyone's aim who starts boxing.
Yeah, I would say you're not that level yet. But how far do you think you're off a world title shot?
Oh, a very long way. I've only had 19 fights, amateur and pro, and less than half of them have gone the distance. So it's difficult. A lot of them haven't got out of the first round, so I don't have that experience. You know, as an amateur, I was hitting people and putting them down, and as a pro, obviously, I've not boxed the best opposition, but I've put them away. The poor fighters I've put away. So it's difficult because I've got the physical capabilities, I believe, to get to world level in when the experience matches up to the physical capabilities that I've got and the natural ability. So, you know, I think it's a matter of time, but, you know, I'm patient. You know, like I said with Steffi now, we're working hard and we're doing things correctly, and I think things will fall into place with the hard work. You know, they're not going to fall into place without it, but, you know, with the right guidance there, you know, I think it's a definite possibility that I will get to world level, and I wouldn't be in this if I didn't think that was a possibility.
Exactly, I respect that. And a lot of people are asking, over the years, you've had a lot of fights fall through, haven't you? Is it true that over the years that Audley Harrison was lined at one point?
Yeah, a lot of fights. You know, I had 3 fights with Dennis Hobson that I had to pull out of. 2 of them I had to pull out of it with an injury at the times. One was just a case that we didn't get an opponent in time, but one was Audley Harrison. Yeah, it was Cleverly Bellew too.
Yeah.
And I accepted the fight. I said, yeah. I said, I'll fight Audley Harrison. I was 21 stone at the time, and I was in a classroom teaching, and my phone went in my pocket. So I looked at it, I opened it, and it was a message saying Audley Harrison. I think it was November 23rd or 22nd. It was Cleverly Bellew with a question mark. So as you can imagine, I was there. I was itching to call back, and yeah, I put 3 or 4 days training, I think, and then they rung back and he had flu and he never boxed again. So looking back, it was a blessing that it didn't happen, because at the time I was 20 odd stone. People disrespect Audley Harrison, but he's a good fighter.
Yeah.
And it'd been too much for me after 6 pro fights weighing 20 stone. So it's probably a blessing now looking at it.
Yeah. Do you think, obviously, you fought on at the Sheffield Arena last time out? Do you think that's a big advantage having that fight underneath you now?
Yeah, Richard's not boxing in 15 months by the time the fight comes round. So it's a massive. You can spar all you want. You can have all the sparring in the world, but in the ring, it's for real. I sparred Richard, but when I spar Richard, I spar serious, but I don't let him go like I will in the ring. And when I get in the ring, I'm a different man. And I'm not such a nice man when I'm in there. So it's gonna be completely different. And Richard, he's got that experience now. But I just truly believe in when it comes for real. In sparring, I sparred Richard a lot, and if you scored the round, you'd give it Richard. Richard's beat me in these spars. I'll hold my hands up and say, yeah, Richard's got the better of these spars. Maybe not because he never hurt me or he's never done this, but he wins the spars. But when it comes for real, I'm a different animal altogether. I go in there to cause some damage. So I'm very confident about the fight. And I'm sure Richard is as well. But it's exciting, and at 36. He's not going to be getting much better, and I'm getting better all the time as a 23-year-old heavyweight. There's years and years of physical development left, so
yeah, so
getting better all the time.
Yeah, it's a great fight. I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously, on the undercard, you got your lad Andy Townsend versus our lad Craig Poxton. How do you see that fight going, mate?
I've never seen Craig Poxton.
Have you seen him against Jupp, that fight online?
No, I've not seen it. I know he boxed a friend of mine, Cass Hussein.
Yeah.
But Cass is Cass. Cass is a great little fighter and he's a good man. But
yeah, I saw that
Andy
fight.
Townsend is probably the hardest punching man under 9.5 stone in England.
Right, yeah.
And with that kind of power, it's hard to rule him out in any fight.
Yeah.
And Andy's defended his English, I think, 3 times now. He's won eliminators. He's won area titles. He's boxed Femi Feintola, who was a quality fighter, or he was a quality fighter when he was fighting, and. Andy's got that experience now, and obviously I'm backing my man Andy Townsend, but on paper it looks like a real good 50-50 fight, and the bill looks good. I'm excited to know about Luke Campbell's opponent.
Yeah.
The Kell Brook fight obviously is not the greatest fight, as everyone knows, but it's a world title fight. It's
a manager as well, isn't it? So
yeah, Kell Brook brings excitement to Sheffield. I've been to a lot of Kell Brook nights in the Sheffield Arena, and it's exciting, and for the atmosphere alone, people were moaning the other day about ticket prices. The atmosphere alone, for a Kell Brook fight, is unbelievable. And I think it's one you've got to be there to appreciate it. So I'm hoping that a lot of people will come and support me, Andy, and Kell, and everyone else on the show, because it's going to be a good night.
Yeah, I did see that the other day, moaning about ticket prices. I thought that was ridiculous, to be honest, because, like I pointed out myself, you box only fight 5 times a year, shall we say, if you're lucky. And equivalent to going to a football match, you can afford to upgrade this ticket, but it's not that bad in that Sheffield Arena for £40 ticket. I'm quite impressed when I was there.
£40. I spent more on a KFC. than 40. I spent £43 once on a KFC, and I loved it. But I swapped it for a ticket for Kell Brook, Bizier, and Alan Towers. So I'm hoping they're going to think the same. So yeah,
like this card having these 2 domestic battles, and I think you should upgrade to a better ticket. And yeah, it's going to be a great night. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's a really good show. I know I am going to be biased in saying that, but I think it's a good show. You got an Olympic gold medalist, Kell Brook. He's a real world champion. Kell Brook's one of the best fighters we've got. He's up there with one of the best fighters Britain's got right now. So hopefully people are going to come out and support.
Because I say, it could be Kell's last fight. You never know. He could disappear to USA or something like that next, or something.
Yeah,
you've got to appreciate these fights, haven't you?
Yeah, this could be the last fight, because he's going to be moving on to massive things. He's probably the biggest. He's probably the biggest name on Sky Sports right now. Sky Sports Boxing. He's probably Eddie Hearn's biggest fighter, and when he steps up and he does fight these Khans or Garcias, and he beats them, he's going to be a superstar. So people need to come and watch him now while he's still around in Sheffield.
Yeah, exactly. Looking forward to that card. Obviously moving on. Have you got a venue you're looking to obviously fight in one day? Have you got that dream venue?
Sheffield Arena. Sheffield was always the dream to box there, and I've done it. I've done it 2 times now.
Yeah.
But I want to go back there and fight for the British title. That's the dream, is to fight for the British title in Sheffield Arena, pack the place out, you know, with my friends. I don't like the term fans. You know, I want my friends to be there. I want all my friends to be there and fight for the British title in Sheffield Arena one day, and that's the dream. And I think, you know, it could happen in 2016. You know, with people's support, buying the tickets and getting behind me, and I do the job in the ring. And I think it could happen this year. So at 24 years of age to achieve that, you know, that's the dream, and I think it's definitely viable that it can happen and happen this year as well.
Yeah, brilliant. So, are you a fan of the sport as a whole? Do you get to any shows?
Yeah, I'm a massive fan. I'm a huge fan of boxing. I'm like me and Tyson Fury. When I lived with Tyson in Bolton, we used to sit on Box Rec and quiz each other about certain fights.
Really?
That's what we do. Yeah, Tyson's very knowledgeable as well. He loves the game. He might say he doesn't, but I know he does. So yeah, I'm a massive fan. I'm always watching boxing when I'm at home and I've got a minute. I'm always watching fights. I'm watching James Toney fights, Marvin Hagler. I've even got a tattoo of war that Hagler had on his hat before the Hearns fight. I've got that on my chest for some reason. I was only young and it was a dare, but I did it. I'm a big Hagler fan. So yeah, I'm a huge boxing fan, and I think obviously James McDonald's not a massive boxing fan, and he's probably the best fighter Doncasters ever going to produce.
Yeah, I've come across them myself. Like, they don't really like the box and just do it.
Yeah, so it's not like something, you don't need to be a boxing fan to be a great boxer, but you know, I think it helps. I love it. I love boxing. I love watching all the great fighters, and I watch any fights. You know, I go to a lot of the local shows. I support. You know, obviously you make a lot of friends in boxing as well, and it's hard work. It's harder work watching your friends than it is going in there yourself. So yeah, I love boxing.
Yeah, just obviously recap the end of the show. Obviously you got to come up for the British title eliminator, but would you like to go on to the European, then the world? Were European a dream as well?
Yeah, the way I look at it is I win the Lonsdale belt, and everything from there I see it as a bonus. You know, the British title, I have to win that because that's what I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
I set out to do that. So until that's been achieved, you know, I'll not be happy. And if I don't achieve that, I will have underachieved. But anything from there is a bonus. You know, Steph is the man. He knows what he's doing. He's got Gavin McDonald into great positions. Gavin McDonald's done it the right way. He's won the Masters, the area, the British, the European, and now he's on to a WBC silver title. So I've just got to keep doing my job, and then whatever titles I pick up or don't pick up on the way there, you know, that's down to the management side of it. You know, I don't have anything to do with that. I just answer the phone and say yes. That's my job. I just say yes. Richard Towers, yes. I'll take that.
Yeah, can you just tell everyone where they can get tickets from you and things like that, please, mate?
Yeah, if you can contact me through Facebook, Twitter. Got an Instagram account as well. You know, yeah. So anyone who's wanting to get tickets, just get in touch with me via them means, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Oh, that's brilliant, mate. I'd like to appreciate for giving up your time today, Dave, and I wish you all the best going to that massive fight. And I'll see you there in the arena, mate.
Thanks a lot, mate. I appreciate it.
All the best, mate. I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you.
Cheers, Dave.
Bye-bye. Bye.